This evening, first up, a Mon Repos businesswoman is back before the courts, accused of attacking a canter truck with a metal pipe at a traffic light. She is out on bail tonight, but this isn't her only active case. We'll tell you what led to the confrontation and what investigators says happened next. Plus, APNU says Guyanese families are reaching breaking point. The coalition is calling for an immediate $150,000 Christmas cash grant for every adult, accusing the government of failing to curb rising food prices. Their wider warning, national security and economic resilience are at risk. And tragedy at a Georgetown intersection. A festival city woman is dead after being struck on a pedestrian crossing in broad daylight. CCTV footage is now central to the investigation, and police are questioning the driver tonight. Plus, on Main Street, the holiday spirit is alive. Georgetown's Christmas Village is officially open, drawing massive crowds with lights, music, culture, and the return of the One Ghana supermarket. And in Colombia, growing anxiety as tensions between the US and Venezuela escalate, leaving many worried that they could be swept into a wider regional conflict. Those stories and more coming up on Headline News Update. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for December 5th, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a Mon Repos businesswoman, 43-year-old Rewati Ann Kemaraj, was hauled before the court earlier today after allegedly attacking a canter truck with a metal pipe during a roadside confrontation earlier this week, leading to a charge of malicious damage to property. Kemaraj appeared at the Sparna Magistrates Court before Magistrate Abigail Gibbs, where she was charged with malicious damage to property under the Criminal Law Act earlier today. She pleaded not guilty and was granted bail of $150,000. The police said the incident occurred around 7 hours on Wednesday, December 3rd, along Mon Repos School Road, East Coast, Demerara. According to investigators, a canter truck driven by a 49-year-old Good Hope resident was heading north when it briefly passed a motor car driven by Kemaraj, who was traveling in the opposite direction. Moments later, the canter stopped at a traffic light. Kemaraj allegedly pulled up beside the vehicle, exited with a metal pipe, and struck the truck, breaking one of its window glasses and damaging the right side rear view mirror. No injuries were reported. Kemaraj was arrested shortly after and taken into custody at the Mon Repos police outpost. The case has been adjourned to January 26, 2026 as police continue their investigations. Kemaraj is also on bail for cyber crimes committed against the minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Inda. On a different note, a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, is sounding the alarm over what it describes as escalating hardships facing Guyanese households, accusing the PPPC administration of poor planning, weak fiscal management, and inadequate response measures over the past 5 years. In a press statement issued today, the opposition coalition said that from 2020 to 2025, the cost of living has climbed sharply, with food prices driving continuous inflation. APNU noted that many families are being forced to cut meals and essential purchases despite the country's rising oil revenues. The party argued that GDP growth alone has not translated into improving living standards and called for targeted relief measures, including stronger monitoring of retail prices and reforms of the food supply chain. APNU criticized the government's handling of its promised cash transfer program, pointing to what it described as vague commitments and politically inappropriate messaging. The party is proposing that the government immediately issue a minimum Christmas cash grant of $150,000 to every citizen aged 18 or older, citing increased state revenue and worsening poverty levels. Financial data, APNU says, makes the proposed cash transfer program achievable. The coalition also raised concerns about national security, saying Ghana remains vulnerable due to porous borders, rapid economic expansion, and regional geopolitical tensions. APNU is calling for an independent national security assessment, greater transparency in defense spending, and updated civil defense planning. APNU says it stands ready to work constructively, but insists that citizens need immediate, credible action to ease economic pressure and strengthen national resilience. Moving on, a pedestrian was struck and killed at a busy Georgetown intersection yesterday, triggering a full police investigation into the fatal crash. Dale Jarvis has the details on what authorities know so far.
A midday collision at a busy Georgetown intersection claimed the life of a Festival City woman on Thursday, prompting a full-scale investigation into what authorities are describing as a tragic and deeply unsettling incident. A 50-year-old Festival City woman was struck and killed at the intersection of Aubrey Barker and Blue Mountain Roads, Georgetown. Police in Regional Division 4A have launched a full investigation into the fatal accident, which occurred around 1200 hours. The victim, identified as Shondell Dundas, was reportedly using the pedestrian crossing when she was hit by a motor car PAJ 9875, driven by a 32-year-old salesman from Lane Avenue, West Rumvelt. According to initial reports, the car was traveling east along the southern lane of Aubrey Barker Road, part of the 4-lane highway, at an alleged fast rate of speed when the collision occurred. Dundas sustained severe head and body injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene by a doctor. Her body has since been taken to the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home pending a post-mortem examination. Police said the driver was administered a breathalyzer test, which returned below the legal limit. He has been placed in custody and the vehicle has been lodged for a mechanical examination. Investigators have identified CCTV cameras in the area, and the footage is now being reviewed as the probe continue to ensure accountability and bring closure to the victim's family. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Stick around when we return. Ministry clarifies baby's removal from New Amsterdam Hospital. And Christmas Village opens on Main Street, launching Georgetown's festival season.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and we're celebrating with big savings on smartphones, starting as low as $16,500 for the Samsung A06 and $26,500 for the Samsung A16 and $40,500 for the A26. But wait, there's more. Get 1 month free data with your new phone to keep you close to loved ones near and far. Offer available while stocks last. Visit a Digicel store today and unwrap the gift of real connections. Digicel.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Check us out at Decor and Gift Gallery this Christmas holiday for all your shopping needs. We are located at 47 Craig and Sheriff Street, Campbellville, Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Georgetown's highly anticipated Christmas Village has officially opened on Main Street, marking the vibrant start of the 2025 holiday season in the capital. The grand opening took place earlier today, drawing large crowds eager to experience one of the city's most cherished Christmas traditions. The launch featured a mega concert showcasing top Guyanese performers, setting an energetic tone for the weeks of festivities ahead. Main Street has once again been transformed into a dazzling Christmas wonderland, adorned with sparkling lights, festive decor, and cultural displays that embody the spirit of a true Guyanese Christmas. A major feature of the village is the return of the One Guyana supermarket, a marketplace that spotlights small and medium enterprises, local artisan and agricultural products. The initiative gives businesses a valuable platform during one of the busiest shopping periods of the year. Visitors can enjoy a range of authentic local experiences, from traditional Guyanese cuisine and craft stalls to holiday themes, attractions, and family-friendly entertainment. The festive hub also forms part of the Ministry of Tourism's Developing Guyanese Christmas Tourism Package, designed to offer locals and visitors a complete seasonal experience, including city tours, nature excursion, and cultural activities. Now formally established as a seasonal staple, the Christmas Village continues to draw families, shoppers, and tourists, bringing together communities in a celebration of national pride and cultural diversity. With the village now open, residents are encouraged to visit Main Street through December to enjoy the lights, entertainment, and unmistakable charm of Guyanese Christmas. In other news, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has addressed reports of the removal of a 1-month-old baby from the New Amsterdam Hospital in Region 6, emphasizing that all actions were carried out with the family's involvement and in the child's best interest. Following the baby's birth, hospital staff raised concerns about the mother and maternal grandmother, prompting the Child Care Protection Agency to conduct a thorough assessment of the home environment. CPA officers found the living conditions unsanitary and unsafe for a newborn, despite repeated guidance and support offered to the family. Efforts were made to identify suitable kinship caregivers, but the proposed caregivers were either strangers or unable to care for the infant. Medical advice also indicated that the prolonged hospitalization could pose health risk to the baby, prompting CPA to place the child in temporary protective custody. The ministry stressed that the family was informed throughout the process and encouraged to engage with officers at the WIM probation office, but attempts to reach them on the day of discharge were unsuccessful. The baby is now in a safe environment under CPA supervision, with the child's well-being and development prioritized. The ministry reaffirmed its commitment to handling child welfare matters with professionalism, transparency, and compassion, aiming to eventually reunite the child with the family once the home environment meets safety standards. Don't go away after the break. U.S. vote strikes. Senior military commanders questioned by Congress, and Macron tells Xi that China, France must overcome differences.
Christmas runs on real connections with Digicel. The calls, the laughter, the joy, and the chance to pick and win big. We're giving away $12 million. Yes, every week, one lucky Digicel customer gets a chance to win up to $2 million. 6 lucky winners in total. Here's how you get in. Top up with $1,000 or more, or pay your fiber or postpaid bill in full. The more you top up, the more chances you get. Stay connected this Christmas for your chance to win big. Digicel.
Check us out at Decor and Gift Gallery this Christmas holiday for all your shopping needs. We are located at 47 Craig-and-Sheriff Street, Campbellville, Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip. If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. A Trinidadian woman who pleaded guilty to posting a TikTok video urging Venezuela's president to kill Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar will be sentenced on December 18th. Her case comes amid heightened police action against online threats, including charges in a separate incident and a high court dismissal of 6 detainees. Many Colombians are closely watching what's happening between Venezuela and the U.S., fearing they may get caught up in the escalating tension. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
This is the border between Venezuela and Colombia. These protesters are blocking the bridge, demanding the release of their Colombian relatives detained in Venezuela. Gira Aragon's 2 sons are among those being held in Venezuelan prisons. She fears there will be chaos and they'll be caught in the middle.
My sons came from Aruba and stopped in Venezuela. They caught them at the border and now they accuse them of terrorism. My sons are innocent. They're not terrorists. That's why we closed the border, because we need a solution.
The bridge is a lifeline for many Venezuelans.
Thousands of people cross this border every day, and now there's tension between those who are trying to close this border and those who are trying to move freely. Venezuelans come to Colombia to buy goods for medical treatment, but also to try to make it to the closest airports, as most international airlines have canceled their flights to Venezuela. Everyone I've spoken to here say that there's uncertainty and that they do not know what is going to happen next.
Francisco Zamora has just arrived. He has not seen his family in over a year. He told us he's decided to leave for good. But as tensions rise between the United States and Venezuela, a group of Venezuelan businessmen and civil society members have come to the city of Cúcuta to meet with Colombia's President Gustavo Petro. They say there needs to be a negotiated solution to prevent a foreign intervention.
Our proposal is to develop a roadmap of what needs to happen in our country that will help dialogue that gives institutional solutions. People continue to call for a military coup. We don't agree with that.
There's also concern for the Venezuelans who have been killed in the Caribbean Sea during U.S. operations against alleged drug trafficking vessels.
We are seeing extrajudicial killings, war crimes, human rights violations, and we who are defending human rights in Venezuela in a very complex environment cannot but raise our voices against this.
The U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean has many people here on edge, anxious over what President Donald Trump may decide to do next. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Cúcuta, Colombia.
The Pentagon released footage showing the targeting of a boat in the Caribbean, followed by a second strike that sparked widespread controversy in the U.S. Congress. Al Jazeera's Patikal Khan reports.
Surveillance video released by the Pentagon showing a boat in the Caribbean blown up last September. What the military didn't show was what happened next. 2 survivors clung to the wreckage. Then came the order, hit them again. Now the man in charge of the operation, Admiral Frank Bradley, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, called before congressional committees to answer questions, as lawmakers were shown the entire video.
What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. You have two individuals in clear distress, without any means of locomotion, with a destroyed vessel, who are killed by the United States.
And there are questions about the legality. The Pentagon's own Law of War manual is very clear. It states that military personnel cannot attack persons who have been shipwrecked as long as they abstain from any hostile act and do not attempt to escape. But at least one prominent Republican is defending the move, citing concerns about drugs, which the administration has not offered proof were on board.
No, I didn't see anything disturbing about it. What's disturbing to me is that millions of Americans have died from drugs being run to America by these cartels. What's gratifying to me is that the president has made the decision, finally, after decades of letting it happen, that we're going to take the battle to them.
Senator Tom Cotton says, despite reports that the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, ordered the second strike, Admiral Bradley told senators he made the decision. But Hegseth is under renewed scrutiny as the Pentagon Inspector General issued a report on his use of his personal phone to share information on an upcoming strike on Yemen last March in an encrypted group chat, which a reporter was accidentally added to. The report found that when Secretary Hegseth sent out the quantity and strike times of U.S. aircraft over hostile territory over an unapproved, unsecure network 2 to 4 hours before the execution of those strikes, concluding it could have resulted in failed U.S. mission objectives and potential harm to U.S. pilots. Hegseth posted to social media, "No classified information, total exoneration, case closed." But maybe not. It was unclassified because he said it was. Some lawmakers are already calling for his resignation, arguing if the Secretary of Defense put American troops in jeopardy, is he fit to lead them? So far, U.S. President Donald Trump says he is. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
France's President Macron told China leader Xi that France and China must overcome their differences during a state visit to Beijing. Al Jazeera's Catherine Yu reports.
French President Emmanuel Macron received a grand welcome on his fourth state visit to China since taking office in 2017. He met President Xi Jinping, who called on France to work with China to build a multilateral world order.
China and France should demonstrate their sense of responsibility, uphold the banner of multilateralism, see through the fog of uncertainty, and firmly stand on the right side of history.
The leaders have a strong personal relationship. Xi visited Paris last year, but they also share many disagreements. One is on the war in Ukraine. Macron wants Beijing to do more to pressure Russia to end its full-scale invasion.
I hope that China could join our call and our efforts to achieve, at the earliest possibility, at the very least, a ceasefire in the form of a moratorium of strikes targeting critical infrastructure. We must work together to achieve a just and lasting peace which respects international law.
The European Union accuses China of supplying Moscow with military components for its defense industry, something Beijing has denied. Macron is also unhappy with what he says is an unbalanced economic relationship. France has a $55 billion trade deficit with China. It says China doesn't buy enough French products and exports too many cheap goods. Another concern is China's dominance over rare earths and controls imposed as a result of its trade war with the US.
Rare earth supplies are crucial for artificial intelligence, for the manufacturing of microprocessors and so on. Chinese pressure and China's monopoly in this area are obviously unsettling for the European powers.
President Xi says France should improve its business environment for Chinese firms. China, meanwhile, is looking for support from France, one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, in its dispute with Japan over Taiwan's status. Last month, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi angered Beijing when she said a Chinese attack on the self-governed island could warrant military intervention. Beijing considers Taiwan part of its territory. State media say France affirmed its adherence to the One China policy at a meeting between their foreign ministers. Xi and Macron oversaw the signing of 12 cooperation agreements covering areas such as nuclear energy, education, and panda conservation. The leaders will travel to the southwestern Chinese city of Chengdu on Friday. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's CTV2 Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.